Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to Harry's Highlights. On this video, we're going to be talking about the book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. This book here is a book about all the different laws that are required to be an effective leader. So each video, we're going to focus on a specific law. So today's video is all going to be about the law of priorities. Now this is a very important law because it helps make good leaders more effective and great leaders better. See, the law of priorities, it really shows through in leadership. It shows through in how you do things. Because if you have a good grasp of the law of priorities, you're in so many ways more effective. See, because the basis of the law of priorities is understanding that leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. It's about understanding, and some people call it busy work, where it's work that just makes you look busy but doesn't really produce a lot of results. It might feel good when you do these certain tasks and like lots of mini accomplishments, but in terms of noticeably moving towards your goals, not really. It's just a lot of looking busy. See, with the law of priorities, you learn to eliminate those. You learn to focus on things that are going to significantly move you towards your goal, progress you towards your goals and achievements. See, leaders understand that prioritizing is always going to be necessary. That's a given. It's something that no matter what, it's always going to be there. But not every leader practices this discipline. You have plenty of leaders that are in that position, or they are good leaders, but because they lack or they don't follow the law of priorities, they really cap or limit themselves, restrict their full potential. Because for as long as you are in leadership, prioritizing is always going to be a necessary thing. It's always going to be part of it. To understand the law of priorities is how to prioritize effectively. Plenty of people could prioritize busy work. Plenty of people could prioritize non-urgent things, important things that aren't urgent. And the problem with that is that it means that you've done a lot of work but have produced very little results. You've put in a lot of effort but haven't progressed very much towards your goal or your achievements. See, prioritizing can be quite painful. It's difficult and tedious, it can be challenging to make the right calls. But leadership has nothing to do with comfort and everything to do with progress. So as a leader, it's your job to prioritize and move through that suffering to move the team, the organization, the group, the company, the business forward towards the goal that you're looking to aim for. So one of the more effective ways that you can achieve the law of priorities is by following the Pareto rule. Now, this is also known as the 80-20 rule. It's about understanding that 20% of your focus will produce 80% of your results. So if you have a team of 10 people, if you focus on the top 2 most valuable people in that team, you'll find that they'll produce 80% of your results. If you focus on with your to-do list, if you focus on the 2 biggest tasks, you'll find that they'll give you 80% of your time. So 80% of your time it'll produce 80% of your results, so you'll have 80% more time to be able to do the other things or other tasks that are available. So the 80-20 rule applies to everything. You'll find that if you have a business, you'll find 20% of your customers will produce 80% of your results. You'll find that, so when it comes to prioritizing, you need to compile your list and then prioritize on the top 20% of your tasks or duties, and that'll produce 80% of the results you need. The other effective method you can do to achieve this is by using the 3 R's. Not reading, writing, and arithmetic, but required, return, and reward. Now, the law of priorities talks about these 3 R's and about understanding that the first R, required. What is required? Now, this is about understanding things that as a leader you must do that nobody else can do or should. And then there's what's not necessary you should eliminate. So when you ask yourself, what are the things that I can do that nobody else can do or nobody else should do? And then out of those, if it's not necessary that you do it, eliminate it. But if it's necessary but not required, delegate it. So moving through that system, you understand that like you need to find, so what is there that I can do that nobody else can do or nobody else should do? These are things that I should do. And then out of that, following the 80-20 rule, you need to start breaking it down into what's necessary or what's not necessary, and then eliminate those, and then find out what is necessary but not required, and then delegate those. So what's necessary for the business but not required for you to do, then you can delegate. Then you're able to focus your attention on the top 20%, and out of that you produce 80% of your results, while also making sure that a lot of the other areas are being serviced. Now the second R there is what gives the greatest return. So leaders really should get out of their comfort zone, but they should stay within their strength zone. That's understanding that even though it's about progressing things forward, if you're focusing and staying in your strength zone, you're going to be working towards your gifts and the things that you have the most effect on. And that is how you get the greatest return, because not only are you out of your comfort zone, so there's going to be an amount of failing or amount of struggle. Because you're in your strength zone, it's something that you'll pick up quite quickly and produce significantly more results. And if you follow this with everybody, move them out of their comfort zone but keep them in their strength zone, they'll produce more results than if they just moved out of their comfort zone. So when you look at it, if you can find people that can do things 80% as well, or if you can find tasks that somebody else could do 80% as well as you could, delegate it. Or if you recognize that somebody has the potential to do this at least 80% as well as what you can, train them up so that you're investing in them so they can do that job, and then you can focus on other things. See, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's how you follow the law of priorities. That is how you become more effective, because activity is not necessarily accomplishment. So just because you're doing a lot of things doesn't necessarily mean you're accomplishing a lot of things. Then the last one there is reward. This is about understanding what brings the greatest reward. Because when it comes to anything, personal satisfaction is very important. Passion provides the fuel to keep going. It's what allows you to release the pressure in some ways, revitalize you, recharge you so that you can then continue to push forward. See, the responsibility of leaders is to make tough decisions, and then based on priorities. So what you need to do when you're focusing on that one is also addressing several priorities at once. That is the most effective way to prioritize. It's not just service each individual priority and address them individually. Find solutions that can serve multiple priorities with the one solution. That way, not only will you be following the 80-20 rule, you'll not only will be servicing multiple priorities, you'll be doing things in the most effective and efficient way. Therefore, you'll be able to free up more of your time, providing more energy and time to be able to put into other things. So to summarize on all this again, the law of priority is all about understanding that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. That when you understand that prioritizing is always going to be necessary, you understand that you need to make it a part, something that you do for the rest of your time as a leader. Even though it's painful and even though it's difficult, it's about moving forward, about progressing your team. So following that 80-20 rule, you focus on the top 20% of anything that you're doing will produce 80% of the results. And then following the 3 R's of required, return, and reward, the first one there, what is required, means that like finding out like if it's not necessary, you should eliminate it. If it's necessary but required, delegate it. The second one there is about understanding what gives the greatest return. So moving out of your comfort zone, staying in your strength zone, so that you're progressing but also producing, at your maximum capacity. The last one there is about what brings the greatest reward, and understanding that focusing on personal satisfaction, factoring that in, not making it the main focus, but factoring it in, because that passion provides the fuel to keep going. It's what allows you to recharge, regenerate, and rejuvenate so that you can come back with vigor, come back with full effort. And understanding that by addressing several priorities at once with one solution, you can be more efficient with your time. If you follow all of that one, you'll understand the law of priorities and you'll be a more efficient and effective leader. Now, we'll be making a lot more of these videos for this training series to help you with your personal development goals. That's all for now though. So until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most and look forward to sharing more with you in the next episode of Harry's Highlights.